Hello and welcome back to Passion Projects. Today I have a little bit of another different video for you. I wanted to talk about every lesson that I've learned from being a fiancé, from being engaged for the last year. I get married in 42 days from today, so I feel like I have a decent bit I can talk about as far as what it means to be a fiancé, how you can grow into that role, how you can develop into what you need to be as a husband in that time. And yeah, I proposed January 11th of 2025, so it's been a little over a year, and it'll be about 14 months when we actually do get married. So yeah, let's talk through my thoughts. So the first thing that I really wanted to just touch on is the fact that I personally genuinely needed this time to develop into Abby and I's relationship. We were dating for, I believe, 8 months before I proposed, and we talked about marriage. We talked about how we both wanted that. We talked through a lot of that stuff, and then the moment that I proposed, in my head I was thinking, oh, well, like, we can just get married in the next 6-8 months, and you know, like, obviously, like, I've already proposed to you, like, I'm obviously already ready to be your husband. And that wasn't the case for me. I know some people they date for 6 months or whatever, 4 months, and then they get married. They're married within a year. And I mean, I could have done that too, and I know it would have worked out just fine. But within this last year, on top of the 8 months before, we've been together almost 2 years at this point. In this last year, it has given our relationship a chance to grow together at the right pace. There was never like if anything, when we got engaged, to some people that would have felt rushed. Even though we both knew very quickly that we wanted to marry each other. But still, in 8 months, you don't know someone as well as you will 2 years, like you would 10 years or 30 years or 40 years. There's levels to how much you know someone's soul. And so when I was dating her for 8 months and proposed, I didn't know Abby nearly as deeply as I know I do now. And in that same time, I didn't know myself in our relationship nearly as deeply as I do now. When you're dating, it's a lot easier to kind of just like go with the flow, like shoot from the hip almost. But in this last year of slowly blending our lives together, we still don't live we're not going to live together until our wedding night. We've never had sex. We've never done that. But our relationship has gotten to, our bond has gotten to get so much closer because we've slowly spent this time intentionally blending our lives together. And I truly believe that this slow blend of our souls will benefit us for the rest of our lives. So if you're planning on getting engaged, planning on proposing, planning on getting married, I would say at least to consider having an engagement that's, you know, at least 6 months, a year, and intentionally making sure that you are growing at the same time together towards the same goal. Because getting married is not just signing a piece of paper. Getting married is the blending of two souls under God together to become one. And if you look at it that way, that's so different than just saying, hey, we're gonna sign a piece of paper, we're gonna live together, we're gonna have sex, we're gonna have kids. No, you're becoming one under God. And there's a lot of weight to that. And I guess the version of me from a year ago didn't fully grasp the actual weight of what getting married is. And so I would say, yeah, that's the biggest thing that I would say first is I needed this time to develop into Abby and I's relationship, to learn what I can be as a husband, what I can do for her. Another thing that I think is really important for someone to know is that as you grow closer to each other, there will naturally be more little fights and little bits of bickering that will arise. Because you're not just dating anymore. You, like I mentioned, you are the blending of two souls. You are two, even if you're similar, you're two different human beings that are coming together to share a life. And that's something I think I recognized pretty quickly when we got engaged, is that we were going to be having a lot more difficult and challenging and hard moments where we weren't always going to see eye to eye, even on like tiny things. Not even, doesn't even have to be big things. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having those little bouts of bickering with each other, because it means you're actually talking through the bits of life that are going to be regular, daily, and what you experience together. And I think going into engagement with this expectation of, okay, there's a good chance that we're gonna bicker over tiny things in a way that is different than when we were just dating, because the stakes have risen. And if you go into it with that mindset, you can look at it as an opportunity for bonding, as opposed to feeling like you're becoming more separate. Because there's never going to be a time in a relationship where you're not challenged by each other's thoughts and beliefs and motivations and actions. And so naturally it makes sense that if you're coming together in a way to get married, you're just going to be surrounded by more of those moments that are difficult. And the way you work through those will be very, very crucial. But expect them. If you don't have them, maybe that means you're not having difficult enough conversation. You're not having those hard conversations enough. So I would maybe challenge you to say, let's talk through everything that we can. And if fights arise, good. It's an opportunity to grow closer to each other. Just another thought that I had is that I genuinely couldn't imagine doing life without Abby. We joke about this too. Like there doesn't feel like a time where like there doesn't feel like a pre-Abby time in my life. It feels like all I've done ever in my life is know her. And of course, all I ever want to do now is know her, and all I ever will do now is know her. And goodness, there is so much peace and joy and happiness in that thought. I don't know what I would do without her. She makes me feel like she's got like I'm a puzzle, and she came along and she started helping do the puzzle, put the pieces together. And it's really cool to have someone that just compliments you. She compliments me in so many ways, and I believe I do the same for her. And it's really fun. It's really fun to have that. And that's why I just couldn't imagine doing life without her. I couldn't imagine waking up and not having that. Not having my best friend to talk to and hang out with and grow with and make a family with and just all the beautiful things, see all the sunsets, go to all the places. It's just all of it. I am so glad I get to do that with her. And I think this time of being engaged has just only gone on to prove that she is my everything, my person. She's the one that I want to love forever. And having this time has just done nothing but confirm that for me. Okay, another is the best thing. One other thing that I've learned while being engaged is that the best thing I can do for Abby is to show up with a heart of service. I'm not always the best at this. Sometimes I suck at it, actually. Sometimes I suck at it. And my job as a husband, first and foremost, is to love God, to show the love of God to her as best as I am capable of. But then I believe somewhere right after that is going to be to show up with a heart of service. I'm there to serve her, just in the same way that she's there to serve me. And if we can wake up every single day and say, hey, what can I do for you today? What can I do that would make you feel loved? I can't imagine we wouldn't have an amazing life if we didn't do that. You know? That's it's just an opportunity. It's just an opportunity to say, less of me, more of you. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna diminish who I am so that I can help make you feel loved, feel supported, feel cared for. And I think that's a mindset that I've had to grow into more. And I think I'm way better at fostering that emotion than I was a year and a half ago. But I'm so glad I have done that. And I'm so glad I've worked on that so that I can show up more often with a heart of, how can I love you today? How can I do better today? And then the last one that I'll talk about that I think is actually kind of a big deal is just to let you know, and maybe I touched on this a little bit earlier too, but the relationship will naturally ebb and flow. Sometimes are difficult and challenging, and sometimes are rewarding and unbelievably meaningful. You know, there can't always just be good days, but you can learn to work off of each other to kind of like maximize the potential for good days. And I think that really leads to a lot more bonding and closeness and intimacy. And I don't just mean like physical intimacy. I mean like cuddling and hugging and kissing, which I guess is all physical, but it's not like sexual, you know? It's amazing what can happen if you are both willing to truly speak your mind and then say, okay, how can we as a team figure out how to come to this conclusion together that we're both happy? Because if one of you is unhappy and the other one's happy with what happened, that's not winning. That's both of you basically losing. In a relationship that's truly meaningful and based off of love and compassion, you should both be happy with whatever next step you're taking, whatever conclusion you come to, whatever you're working through. Otherwise, it's just one person winning, and that's not being in a relationship. That's being against each other, if anything. So, one perspective that I've really gained through being engaged and through being in a long-term relationship is that it'll ebb and flow. It'll ebb and flow. Some weeks will be hard. Some stretch of weeks will be really hard. You won't feel close. You won't feel connected. You won't feel bonded like you have in the past. And then it'll pass. You'll talk through whatever issues are going on. Maybe one of you or both of you are really stressed about what's happening. And life gets the better of you. But then it'll all come to a head. And you'll sit down and you'll figure it out. And you'll talk through it. And you'll grow together. And then you'll have an amazing period. And you might hit a challenging period because you're dealing with new things. You're not just stagnant in the relationship. You're conquering an issue as best as you can, and maybe you're working through that up and down some. But then the next time, it should be a different issue. It should be a new, nuanced take on that topic. It should be you two driving and striving to act in a way that's more closely aligned to what both of you are trying to get to. And I think that's this like song and dance of a man and woman together, that when you first deal with it, you're like, oh my gosh, this sucks. But then you get on the other side of that and you see the beauty of how it changes. And it comes off as like this beautiful thing to where you almost crave it, because you crave the downs and the ups, because you know that a down will lead to an up, because you're both willing to work through that together to get to a better spot in your relationship. And there's a lot of reward in that. That's really cool. And I can't think of another person that I would want to do that with. It's amazing what happens when you have two people willing to grow in life together towards the same or similar direction. It's just crazy what'll happen. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed my little fireside snowy day chat and can maybe take some lessons from what I talked about today. That was definitely the goal, and also just to kind of like share my thoughts in a diary type talking to the camera fashion. So if you enjoyed this video, please do like it. Leave a comment on what you thought of what I said. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you hate me? Do you love me? Who knows? And of course, don't forget to subscribe. As of today, we just hit 16,000 subscribers, so goodness gracious, this is a huge, massive thank you to everyone that has joined and made this awesome journey awesome. I love you. I'm excited to see what 2026 continues to have in store. I'm excited to get married. I'm excited I could hopefully teach you some lessons and help you grow in life and in a future relationship. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.